We have a couple of participants who have joined. Let's wait for a few minutes. Let's wait for a couple more participants. Can we have a yes or no in the chat box if our voices are audible? All right. Thank you. So I would like to tell all the viewers who are watching us live right now on YouTube, please make the best use of the live chat that is there, and feel free to put all your questions there. We will take, we'll try to take maximum questions and answer all of those. Okay. So, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this exclusive interview with Ahethaysham Ahmed, who is a 22x certified cloud professional. And today we will be covering about his cloud journey and what was his challenges, how he overcame those, and yes, we will also answer all your queries today. So let me go ahead and introduce our guest for the day. So Ahethaysham Ahmed is a multi-cloud certified professional with more than 20 years of experience in the IT industry. At present, he is 15x Azure certified, 6x AWS certified, and 1x GCP certified. And he has successfully passed 25 exams in total. So he has received multiple recognitions at his workplace also for being a dedicated contributor to the community and for actively inspiring hundreds of people to start their cloud journey. Thank you so much, Ahmed, for getting on board for this interview. And we are really excited for this whole session. Ahmed, your voice is not audible. Can you try that again?
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so my first question to you would be, since you are 22x cloud certified, and that's a huge achievement and definitely not an easy one. So would you like to touch upon when you started your cloud journey and what all certifications you have as of today?
Yeah, so I started in June 2017. So where we started actually learning hands-on. So that is how it started, and we started preparing simultaneously, trying to get certified as we were working on the AWS environment. And on the certifications, like you said, I've got 15 certifications on Azure, some of them double certified actually. Double certified as Azure Administrator 103, 104, and double certified as Solution Architect. And yeah, I've covered all the fundamentals. And then AWS have completed the Cloud Practitioner, the 3 associate certifications, Solution Architect Professional, and Security. And in 2 days, I'm writing my Devops Professional. And GCP have completed the associate paper.
That's great. So you've already planned your next certification.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ahmed, like what made you start your certification journey? Like what role does a certification play in your career?
Yeah, so the industry standard today is that unless you get certified, you don't get recognized. So that is very important today. And when you have a certification, you're able to show your credibility in the market. So, and it's an absolute must today to be certified. So it's not enough if you work in the cloud environment and you have any exposure. So you definitely need to get certified. That's a must today. And see, when you get certified, you learn a lot of areas. So there's always this question of whether you work and then get certified, or you get certified and then go to work in the relevant area. But the catch is, when you get certified, you get exposed to all the areas. If you are working in an environment, like I was a DBA, so I was fully involved in the project, AWS project, but it was more of a database administration and database migration that was there. So I never get to know the other areas. I never get to work, I'm just here in the calls, but I never get a chance to like really know about what it is, know hands-on. So it's always good to get certified, have an overall exposure, and you have a high-level picture of everything that's there around you, everything on the cloud. So that way, it's always good. All right, and then like when you talk about certifications, like I just want to say that Whizlabs is the only common thing about all my 25 almost all my 25 certifications that I did. I used Whizlabs practice tests a lot, and a lot of the video training material also. So, so thanks
that's
to
really
Whizlabs
good
for
to
that.
know. Yeah, that's good to know that Whizlabs could help you achieve your certifications. And
Yeah,
what you are saying about covering all the fields of AWS or whatever you're working on. So yes, that is true. When we are working on something, we can only work on a particular topic or a particular field which is there in our project. But when we prepare for a certification, we cover almost everything.
yeah,
That is
and
the
then yes, like you said, like I moved from mainframes to the cloud, and it was almost a 4-year journey. And even on the cloud, I was a DBA, so I didn't have to do much on the cloud itself, and I was like a DBA on the UDB world. So there wasn't much exposure on the cloud, and then I started getting the certifications done. And once I reached a certain number of certifications, I got extremely good uh, response from the company. It was very well received. They allowed me to move out of the from my current profile, to my current profile now, where I manage and work with on the both Azure as well as AWS. And the company has given me a lot of very responsible and very important work, which I'm able to execute successfully because of the certifications. And
okay.
the company has given a lot of recognition, a lot of awards. So, like I couldn't thank the company enough who sponsored my complete journey.
Okay.
So I'm really thankful to Emphasis for that. And now I'm paying it forward now. So I'm trying to guide a lot of people within my company on their cloud journey. I've helped hundreds of people so far in the
Of course. I
certifications.
mean, I'm really hopeful that all the viewers who are watching us live today, they will also get inspired by this interview and by knowing your journey of achieving these 20 certifications. So that is really great work that you are doing. And in fact, as you said, your company was the main support that helped you achieve these certifications. So it is actually a blessing to have the support of your company.
Absolutely, yeah. So a lot of companies today support cloud. So whoever wants should definitely approach the management, and like they should get this support. So all companies would definitely help out. So we should be bold, and we should we should not we should move out of our comfort zone, and we should look at getting certified. So if it's okay, I just want to share mm, the accreditation
Yes,
that I've
yes,
got.
of course, of course. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so in May, I was awarded the a monthly summit award, and then there is a cloud. There's a whole community. We are about right now we're about 3 to 4,000 members strong, and three of us were recognized as Gold League champions. I was one of those, and then and there's a talent portal that we have. It's an absolute fantastic platform that the company has provided, where we can go and we can enroll, and we can learn everything, just about everything. There's a separate portal for leadership, there's a separate tech portal, and both these combined, I happen to be the leader actually. And I'm also featured on the Emphasis website, on the Emphasis, this is the careers website. So that's about it.
Know that your company actually values all the hard work that you put into achieving your certifications, and they have actually been a support system throughout your cloud journey.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes. So, Ahmed, as you said, you did realize that certifications are important. But when was the time that you realized your true love for cloud computing as whole?
Yeah, initially it was more of a professional requirement where I had to learn and I had to support, and it was very much needed when we were trying to, we moved all our databases on EC2 instances. So when we started doing that, it's very professional where I have to go and find out what is the CPU capacity on the mainframe and what is the capacity, which kind of an EC2 instance I should go for. So there was no passion or love with it. But as we started learning and we started understanding serverless computing, it was something that was totally new. And then managed services, managed databases, those things, started, putting that joy in learning. So it was not about just about, doing the regular work, but also it became a passion for learning. And then, you start comparing different clouds. Okay, how does AWS do it? Okay, and then how does Azure do it? And then how does GCP do it? So that way, it became very passionate about learning, and particularly on the cloud, it was very nice.
Okay. So Ahmed, we have received one question in the live chat. Someone is
Okay.
asking, what is your current job? So would you like to
Yes.
touch upon that?
Yeah, I'm a principal consultant. So I'm in the practice area for apps, cloud apps. And right now I'm working on GTM, go to market. So where I'm now taking the current offerings that we have to the Azure marketplace. If you just Google Azure marketplace, and then you can shop, and then you go for services. If you search emphasis, you can see all the offerings. So I help, talking to the different areas, and I get the, I coordinate with Microsoft and I move the products. And I focus a lot on DevOps now. And I've developed quite a few capabilities on the DevOps for Azure. And also I'm working on a blockchain project also on AWS. It's a very interesting project that I'm working on. There are quite a few things I do now.
Okay, interesting. So Ahmed, out of your all 20 certifications, which one was the most difficult for you and which one was the easiest?
The most difficult to me is AWS Solution Architect Professional. It's the most difficult one, trust me. So I took quite a lot of time trying to learn, and it was a very tough exam. And there was one question where I was stuck for like 7 to 8 minutes. And in the first, I don't know, 40 or 50 minutes, I would have crossed only like 8 or 10 questions. So I couldn't time it properly. So it was very tough. And yeah, I thank Almighty that I passed. And coming to the easiest ones, I would say all the Azure foundational exams. So there's a 900 series like AZ 900, which is Azure fundamentals. Okay, some of those are easy to clear.
Okay, yes. So can you walk us through your certification path? Like which certificate did you choose first and why?
Yeah, so my client at the time, when I was working, so we had about 800,500 SQL servers. So my first guess was, we would go with Azure. So I learned Azure, and then finally they decided to go with AWS. Then I started to learn AWS. And then Corona came, and I couldn't write the professional exams anymore. 3 hours, it's very difficult to, sit and write it online. You are scared that your internet will fail. You won't get restroom breaks, you won't get food or water. So that's very difficult to write, online from home. So I waited, then I thought, okay, let me restart. And I started my Azure journey again. And I went about and I did almost 15 to 18 exams in a stretch from the month of June to December. And then in between, I got a chance and I wrote 1 week gap was there where I was just, I think, preparing. So I wrote within that 1 week, I learned ACE, GCP ACE, and I wrote that exam. So, and now I'm back to AWS. So AWS now I started again professional security and now with DevOps, and database already booked for database also, and then probably networking in December.
So the whole plan is ready for the year.
Yeah, and in fact, my companies assigned me CKA and VMware app modernization. So we need some capability. So I was nominated, 6 of us. I'm one of the 6. So that's also started now.
Okay, great. We have received one question from Kaushik. He's asking, does certification help for career transition to cloud at mid-age who was a salesman?
Yeah, definitely. Why not? See, anybody you take today, like very few people would be, the administration probably, like they would understand the basic concepts of disk and storage, operating system and all. But otherwise, everybody's new to cloud, so that way it shouldn't be a difficult one. But for me personally, what has happened was I was from the mainframe background. So when I started, we were moving from mainframe to Unix database. So I had to learn Unix. I had a very good friend. I want to name him, Vijay Kumar Kesavan. So he's now working with AWS and as a database specialist. So he taught me Unix. So a little bit of preparation will be there where you need to understand the basics, of how things work, how the system operates, what is the Windows operating system, what are the Unix operating system. Those kind of fundamentals are needed. But otherwise, definitely you should be able to move. There shouldn't be any problem.
Okay, I hope Kaushik got his answer. Coming to the next question, Avinash is asking, what roles were you offered when you started the cloud journey? You mentioned you were in mainframes. I also worked on mainframes and want to transition.
Yeah, so for me, I didn't have any problem at all. So my company wouldn't let me leave. So I was just put in the practice area, and now I'm able to contribute wherever I can. So I'm very free actually. I'm very flexible, so there is no problem at all, because being multi-cloud, my company is able to utilize me very well. But keeping this apart, ideally it would happen that you go into one single cloud, AWS or something, right? So you should be able to choose what you are. If you are a mainframe developer, then you can go into general solution architecting. If you're a DBA, you can be a DBA specialist. So coming from mainframe should not be a difficult transition for you. And you have to choose a role that, best suits you, like what you like to do, and something that could help, see, there's a lot of mainframe modernization. Okay, so if you know the mainframe and bit of the cloud, then you're able to move the data, right, or move the application from the mainframe to the cloud. So that way, there is a career path that way also for you. Or you can leave it out altogether and you can go into solution architecting. You can go into database administration. There are quite a few roles that are available for you.
Okay. So one more question we have. Arpit is asking, when you start preparation for any certification, what is your strategy? So yeah, now we start talking about the strategy.
Yeah, a lot of preparation. Okay, you need to prepare well. Don't take any exam lightly. Don't think that you are just starting, right? So fundamentals, right? Don't take fundamentals an easy exam just because I told you. Don't go away anything I say. Standard disclaimer. All right, so whatever I say is my view, independent of anybody's. Okay. All right, so you got to prepare well. So the way I start preparing is I look up at a lot of this thing. I try to come up first, understand what kind of a course I need to do. All right, so Udemy has got a lot of courses. I follow a lot of people. So AWS, if you look, you've got Stefan Marek. All right, and then the deal were a little bit expensive on the courses. All right, and then if you of course Whizlabs is also there on the courses. All right, so I just compare, and then there are practice tests at the second level, and then you've got the blogs. You've got a lot of blogs. Okay, you've got to look at a lot of white papers. They've got a lot of videos, like Reinvent is there, and then Microsoft Learning is there. So you've got to have a mixed bag of all these things. Each and everyone's preparation is a little bit different, but you prepare well first. You identify which one, okay, and then you go through that. Let's say that you arrived at that you want to do one course, do the practice test. You do the practice test, it will tell you what are the gaps in your knowledge. You identify that, maybe you repeat the course again, or only those areas where you're lacking. You might be able to identify, okay, I need to understand how access is set up, how security is set up. So you go through those areas. So this is the way you would prepare, and a lot of materials you need to go through, to be able to successfully clear the exams.
Correct. So when you talk about blogs, would you like to name a few? Which particular blogs did you follow while your preparation?
Me personally, no, I can't think of any specific blog that I follow. So the way I just Google it, and any problem that I have, anything that I want to learn, I just Google it and I go by it. So Medium has quite a few documents, but no specific bloggers that comes to my mind. If it comes, I'll just share.
Okay, sure. Someone is asking, is it possible to get job without experience in IT and AWS Solutions Architect certification?
Yeah, it's always kind of difficult to get a breakthrough, like it's a tough ask actually. So, like it's always there, like whether you have experience or certification, always companies will always ask for both. If you're able to convince, then you should be able to do it. So, like when I joined, when I moved to the cloud, I'm still considered as a novice only, even though with all these experiences, certificates, I'm sorry, my experience would be considered much lesser. See, of course, it's going to happen. So, like you got to be very honest, and you should be able to convince. So, very good learning is very important. So that's what one of the things about certification is, like you just don't learn for passing the exam. So if you do that, then you'll have tough time clearing the interview. All right. So many people are there that I interview, like certifications, I keep them aside always. Certification just, like a gate pass to let you in for the interview. That's it, not more than that. But clearing the interview, it's going to be very difficult. So if you're really smart and you understood the basics well, you should be able to convince. So get your foundation very right.
Yes, and I think that's where hands-on labs actually help, because
Yeah, sure, yes, absolutely.
get practical experience and you get your hands dirty with the activities.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, absolutely helps. And like yeah, when you come into the cloud, like there's a lot of fear, like that you'll end up with a huge bill and people are scared. That's one of the most the highly this thing answered this thing point whenever somebody's asked, like why you're not doing, they say we are worried that giving a credit card information. So you understand, like what happens. So if you are going to sign up with Azure, where you get 1 month $200, or you go with GCP 3 month $200 or $300, I think you will never be charged for any expense. All right, so that is how it is. On AWS, it's the other, like it's not like that. You'll pay for it. You set up budgets, you understand how budgets work, and you have proper alerts whenever you have. See, we always used to keep $10 as a budget, and 80% to send an alarm. So nobody wants to spend more than $10 or $20. So for AWS, you should be willing to spend a small amount. I learned it, the wrong way. I paid almost $210 1 month as a bill. So it was a huge amount. I got a bill for $120. I went and turned it off. By the time I saw the bill and I turned it off, it was already like another $90 had been accumulated. I just stopped the RDS instance, and it was like that. So, but I didn't care about budgets and all at that time. So then I learned the lesson. So
I think I would like to take this opportunity and jump into this discussion that at Whizlabs, we are providing this hands-on labs platform completely free. So people just have to, whenever they buy any course or any practice test, they do get access to hands-on labs related to that particular exam that they're preparing for. So if any of our viewers are also experiencing the same issue regarding the pricing, so they should definitely try out our hands-on labs platform and do let us know how it goes for you.
That's nice, actually. I didn't know that. I knew the labs are there, but I didn't know they were free. Okay, nice. I'll try them out. But for me, like my company sponsors everything, so I do get access to the labs a bit.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Okay, someone is asking, if I want professional solutions architect certification after the associate certification, should I do specialist certifications first, like security database, or can I go directly after solutions architect associate?
Right. See, that's what I also thought initially when I started preparing, right? I prepared all the three together. The AWS, all three associate papers I learned together. I thought, okay, if I understand, if I do developer, if I learn developer associate, then I'll know API gateways well, I'll know Lambda well. If I do sysops well, I'll know how to, like operations and all, I'll understand well. But they were not of much help actually. So you'd rather focus on just the professional, go with the professional. So I did the same thing, just like how, like same set. I prepared for AWS professional security. I booked at the same time. I booked 2 exams. March 19th, 2020, and then April 10th or April 9th, 2020, and the exam centers closed for me. But I did the preparations together. But trust me, no need to do that. No need to become a master in security and then go for professional. They don't touch to that depth the security. When you learn for security, you learn security it's in its own.
Okay. I think, you got your answers to this question. Moving ahead, someone is asking, in AWS point of view, what are the best practices in cost? Yeah, just a second. What are the best practices in cost point of view for delivering best product to the client?
Yeah, of course, there are lots of tools. You should understand, the architectures. The first thing is architecture, right? So you understand and you design a good architecture. If you have a bad architecture, then it's going to cost you. So you know how to design a development system, a production system. You should know when to stop. You should know how to put in rules which will automatically shut down the instances and then start the instances in the morning. So we stop working at 9. So we have a rule. We have about 15-20 instances in the project. They all get shut down at 11 p.m. and then again at morning 10 a.m. they get started. Weekends they are turned down. So there are lots of best practices that we have to have, like lots of remediation that can be done. You have a good tagging strategy. You have you understand what your budget is going to be. You set up alarms. Okay, you set up thresholds, and once it crosses the threshold, you should be able to terminate the instance automatically. You should make sure the developers, they're given correct queues that they can start with. All these best practices are there, and then you got the advisor. It talks about cost optimization. So but then only the basic things are there. After that it's going to be expensive, but you need to look at it, and you need to have an automatic remediation in place. Otherwise your bills will go up.
Correct. Okay, next question is how to leverage past unrelated experiences, mainframe testing, data networking, to transition to cloud career. Any suggestion how best can we justify this transition during interviews?
Yeah, so a lot of what you learned, unfortunately you will not be able to leverage it. That's a fact. Sometimes you do get an opportunity, but whatever you learned, right? So let's say you're on the networking side, all right? So definitely some amount of it will be useful for you, but not all of it. Unfortunately, that's the thing. So but whatever you're moving on to, you'll be very strong in that. And you show that it's not just about the technical knowledge that you gained, right? So on the mainframes that I worked, I used to do auditing. I used to do SOC 7 auditing, all those auditings I used to do, and then disaster recovery drills we used to do. So whatever we did is definitely useful today. So when I talk about architecting, I know what is disaster recovery. I understand what is RPO, right? So nothing on the mainframe side, but then the general knowledge that you have, the project experience that you have. So those are the things that you should weigh in along with the technical knowledge.
Okay. So Ahmed, this is one question that I have in mind for you.
Yeah.
Would like to tell us about the challenges that you faced during your complete 20 certifications journey, because I'm sure there must have been some. And what were those challenges, and how you were able to overcome those challenges? Like what kept you motivated, especially during tough times like the pandemic?
Yeah, so for me it turned out to be a boon in one way, because my travel time was almost like 3 hours to the office and back. So I was able to save the 3 hours of travel time. So that way, it was okay for me. And then I was not able to write the exams. That was the negative side. But then, I was able to write the Azure exam. So, it's a mix of both positive and negatives as far as, the exam thing came. And luckily, I had very few failures in my exams. I failed AZ 103 with 590, and I bounced back, and I scored, I think 916 something I scored, and I passed. So yeah, so sometimes your preparation you might fail. So if you adequately prepare, and you still be prepared for failure, and be you should be able to bounce back. So that's all I could think of the challenges.
So as you said,
Yeah.
you were preparing while you were working. So what was your schedule like during your preparation? What would your advice be to any exam takers who are going for the certifications while doing a full-time job?
Yeah, so I also do it today. Like you should try to allocate at least 2 or 3 hours a day on your weekdays. All right, on the weekends you should cram it. Try to do 6 hours a day. On the weekends. So like that, you should be able to cover it up. Plan well. Like you should just try to plan it out. Have a calendar and say that okay, I'm going to finish 10 modules. Okay, this is the number of hours I'm going to present. So any video you take, it will be for like 24 hours. 24 hours means you're going to watch it twice at least. So once you get used to it, it'll be easier. But initially, it will be a bit difficult. You got to watch it twice. So you can have a decent plan. And also other thing is, unless you're fully prepared, please don't book the exam. Like some exams you'll be able to reschedule. Like Microsoft during the COVID times has changed the policy. You can reschedule any number of times, not a problem. But AWS you can reschedule 2 times. After that, you have to cancel and get it. So it and then I think there is no clear instruction, but you pay about $140 I think if you reschedule more than twice. So please avoid that.
Yes, that is actually a great tip. And in fact, we do receive some responses from people when they are going for practice tests, but they don't get the expected result. So what would your suggestion be for that, for those kind of exam takers? Because
Yeah, I remember I raised a
that actually
complaint.
demotivates.
Yes, I raised a complaint. I'm one of those who would have sent a mail to Whizlabs saying that I didn't get any questions in the exam.
Okay.
So that was, I think, the associate. That was the first one that I took. That was 2 years back, and I was expecting nothing came. Very few. See, the understanding is, all right. Your practice tests, they are not your exam questions. They are helping you bridge the gap in knowledge. So whatever you might go through the course, you might. Um, the course cannot cover absolutely everything. All right, so there will be gaps in knowledge. Even when you're going to the course, within that you might not have understood something, but in the practice test there'll be a scenario given. Customer A is there and he wants to, like he doesn't want SSL all the way. What do you do? SSL offloading is something. So you might not have missed it in the video course or something, right, on any of the materials that you're reading. So the practice test will, like the similar scenario, when you read and you get the answer right or wrong, you'll understand, oh, okay, this is what it means. So that is what practice tests are all for. Okay, don't think that like they are exam questions. You just read and you go. And on the same lines, please don't memorize the answers. Okay, so you just understand what is the reason behind it, how to answer the question, and you get the knowledge. So even if it's a wrong answer, it'll tell you why it is wrong. So each and every answer that there, all the 4 options are learning for you, not just the correct answer, but even the incorrect answers also. All right, so take that as the learning, and not expect like I used to do that. Actually, I used to memorize the answers when I couldn't understand some of the concepts. That's how I started with. But over a period of time, I like writing so many exams, I came to a conclusion, like you're not supposed to do that. So please don't memorize anything.
Right. That is actually that actually works, because memorizing something that won't help you in the long run. You might be able to clear your exam, but in future when you actually work with the platform, then it will be a trouble for you.
Yeah.
So next question we have is from Niharika. She's asking, is there any CI/CD code for full deployment of app architecture, like web server, app server, DB, and further app deployment? Any source code available would really help.
Yeah. So you go to GitHub. GitHub, you have lots of repositories. All right. You should be able to find something. You just go for a 3-tier architecture and you say I want GitHub code. Like you can just Google and say for AWS you should be able to get the code with very small customization. You should be able to deploy it. Okay, so but the question is which CI/CD tool that you want to deploy with. Okay, so whether you want to go with Terraform infrastructure as a code, or whether you want to use within code pipeline, right? A code build, how you want to do it, that's a choice. So based on that, you have to search.
Right. Okay. Manish is asking, can we clear interview with just hands-on practice plus certification without project experience?
I think you should be able to do it. If your foundation is sound, uh, I'm sure the interviewers will be able to see. It has to match the job description that is there. So if you applied for the right job, you have enough confidence, you have good foundational knowledge, definitely you should be able to get in. So let me tell about myself. Okay, so my first job, um, I went to the US for 3 months and I came back after 7 years. Okay, so they were happy. I had no work experience. I had moved totally from a different job. I was a service engineer for Godrej. I was a technical manager for entire South India, and then I moved and I did my 10 MCSE papers. I got my certified MCSE CCNA. Then no opportunity. I learned mainframe and I got a job, and in 3 months I was in the US actually. And I was there with the client. There was absolutely no issue at all. So because my foundational knowledge was so sound, so there was no problem at all.
Okay. So Ahmed, other than your personal learning, what are you currently learning in the technical field? Like any new fields of interest that you have currently explored?
Right. So, like lots of customers, we might think that they're on the all on the public cloud, but we do have the private cloud also, right? You have the PCF, VMware. So, so now I'm starting with VMware. I worked on VMware for one of the capabilities. So for SRE, I worked on Tanzu observability. There's a product called Wavefront, which is now called TO. So I worked on that, and now I'm going to start learning VMware. Very interesting. I installed a VMware called TKG, Tanzu Kubernetes Grid. So Kubernetes, Kubernetes everywhere. So Dockerization, Kubernetes. So this is something now becoming very basic now. If you want to get into the cloud industry, everybody's moving to lot of Kubernetes. So I installed TKG on AWS and on Azure. So now I'm going to continue with CK and the VMware.
Okay, interesting. So you are actually exploring other fields and not just sticking to your cloud certification.
Everything's still on the cloud only in a way.
Yes, of course, but not just from certification point of view. It's more from the learning perspective.
Yeah, no, it's got a certification also with it.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but this is something very good. So keep in mind, like today's technology, there's something low code, no code. There are providers like Uncork, OutSystems. So there is no coding required, absolutely. So I chose to be an administrator. So like development, I cannot do any coding other than my administrator scripting. So now you don't even have to worry about it. Like somebody asked about sales, right? So there's something totally no coding needed, in fact. So low code, no code, Dockerization, like completely everything is microservices architecture. So those are the things which are very important now. So you should learn that.
Okay. So apart from learning, someone is asking, apart from learning, do we have any platform where we can get real problem statements of cloud or get projects from any website? Do you have any recommendations on that?
In fact, I forget the name. So AWS has got a product called IQ. So if you are an AWS professional, you can enroll yourself and you can do projects. So there is such thing available, and Azure doesn't have a direct one. I forget the name of the website, but if you can go to Azure and you say that like you want to hire professionals, it'll take you out to a system. I forget the name of the website. It's an external website. So you can go there and you can register yourself, and you can provide professional services.
All right. One more question. For AWS Solutions Architect Associate, which course is best to opt for preparation? So maybe you can touch upon what was your, what all resources did you use for your preparation?
I used only one, Stefan Marek. That's it.
Okay.
And Whizlabs practice test.
Okay. All right. Which cloud technology is easy to learn more job opportunities on cloud base? I think the person is trying to ask which technology would.
Yeah, so it depends. In fact, like all are good. Like in terms of technology, in terms of offering, there'll always be, like one will be above, then other one will introduce something new. So like it'll always be going. you should see your comfort level. If you're, let's say that you're on the .NET more, then like Microsoft might have a better this thing for you as a developer. You might, if you want to do a developer this thing, then on the .NET side, so Microsoft would be good. So, and even in terms of like today, Microsoft is becoming more and more popular. So almost like a 10% gain in the market share that they've got. AWS is stable more or less. GCP is very good on data, big data, and then GCP, one of the best products they have is Anthos, like which you can control your Kubernetes on the on-premises also, and others are catching up. Like Azure Arc has come up, and then AWS is going to launch EKS Anywhere. So like that, like if somebody catches up, and then there'll be a new thing. So it'll always keep going. And you look at your comfort level, and me personally, I find AWS to be very stable. Your certification is valid for 3 years. Microsoft only 1 year. GCP 2 years. So Azure is easy. It's 1 year, but you don't pay for the recertification, and you just write one exam, and you should be able to get recertified. So that is something very good. But of course, like you have to keep updating yourself. AWS, you don't have to. 3 years, you're happy.
That is true. So do you know, like, what is the next big thing in DevOps according to you? This is a question by Prateek.
DevOps, see, I personally am promoting a lot of DevSecOps. All right, so shift left, security. So, like instead of checking everything is okay at the end, very end, you start right at the development phase itself. All right, so there is a tool called Checkoff. If you've got Terraform scripts, you just include Checkoff, it will tell you, like these are all the vulnerabilities that you have. So like that, like right in the first step itself, right in development itself, you catch it. So you should have security at every stage. So there are lots of products for containers. There is a separate product for security. Like, and there are at every stage you should have security built in your CI/CD pipelines. This is not something new, but it is like it's not everywhere. So focus on security. Like, and so that's something very important.
Okay. So Ahmed, what is your advice on selecting or choosing the right certification path? What factors should any exam taker keep in mind while choosing their certifications?
Maybe I can walk through the certifications. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course. Please do.
All right, so most of these certifications that you have, they fall into 3 categories. I'm going to start with AWS. First is the foundational one, which is the cloud practitioner. Similarly, in AWS, Azure, we've got the fundamental series. I'll just walk through next. The next is associate. All right, so associate, like these two different people have different opinions, but I would say that, like the DevOps and the SysOps, unless you are going to be developing code like API gateways and lambdas, like you can skip the developer part. Like if you want to be a developer, that's fine, but otherwise you don't need to do that. Likewise, SysOps is like more like operations. So you start the EC2 instance, you stop the EC2 instances, those kind of activities, all that is encompassed in the SysOps. It's a very hands-on exam. You've got to know everything very well for the SysOps. And solution architect is a stepping stone to your next step, which is the professional. All right, so we can group the professional specialty all together. All right, and you got all these exams. So you've got total of 11. And then, so this is kind of a difficult way to explain. So you got the Azure fundamentals over here. Likewise, you've got fundamentals, which will be a first level. So here you've got the role-based certification based on what kind of a role that you want to do. It is neatly categorized. So if you want to, like if you want to go into the infrastructure, you go as an administrator, security, right? And then this is one more specialty, which is SAP. Like there are only a handful of people in the entire world who have completed all the exams, and Microsoft keeps on adding. So they've just added AZ 700, 800, 801. I was about 6 exams away from getting all of them, and now I'm about 9 exams away. So but that should not be a factor for you to simply just get all the exams. So if SAP has nothing to do for me, I don't think it's worth trying to get certified. So that's why I didn't continue. All right. So if you complete 2 exams, you'll get the engineer expert, DevOps engineer expert. Either you finish the administrator or the developer to be an DevOps engineer expert. Like by some exams, you've got to write 2 exams. So for some certifications, solution architect expert, likewise, you've got to write 2 exams. And GCP to me doesn't have like a foundational one. This is more like an associate exam. All right. So there's no fundamental. Of course, if you're on the sales side, like there's a digital leader exam that you can write. And so these are my badges. So I've got the 6X AWS and some on the IBM side also, as my earlier this thing as the DB to DBA.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think that was a really detailed explanation of all the technologies. Yes, moving ahead with GCP.
I'm sorry?
Yes, I'm saying you have covered all these certifications in detail, and it's really nice to see all the badges that you have achieved so far. It really looks inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good to have such lot of certifications. Okay, so someone is asking, is solutions architect associate requires a lot of hands-on practice, or we can read thoroughly, go for exam?
Excellent question. So only the AZ 900 exam probably is the only exam I would say that, or maybe even the AWS Cloud Practitioner. But otherwise, associate, you got to get the feel of it. Just by reading, you will not be able to clear the exam. So, like I spent 3 months and still it was not easy for me to, clear the exam. And because it was one of my first exams, I found it very difficult. And you got to practice, you got to invest a small amount, like $20-30. You've got to spend and you got to practice out, so you got to do it. So you cannot avoid it. You've got to have hands-on, lots of hands-on. Every practice test, most of my questions that I do a lab, in fact. So, but now I don't have time. But that's how I learned it when I started. So the foundation was very good because, you should try to learn in groups also. We used to share the topics. We used to do the lab and show so to each other. So that's how you get to learn a lot. But don't avoid the the labs. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Next question is I think it's technical. Person is asking, for monitoring point of view, every cloud is providing their service. Is it best one, or else go with other tools like Grafana and Agios?
See, we won't be able to make the choice actually unless we are we are doing the solutioning, and more of it's always from the customer standpoint, what the customer wants. Most of the dashboards are decent, but if you want a professional dashboard, definitely there's no choice. Then you have to have Grafana. You got to have Prometheus as far as Kubernetes is concerned. So these cloud providers are coming up, but it's not as comprehensive. So if you have a good a decent enterprise that you're going to have, then obviously we don't have a good solution as far as your monitor is concerned. Definitely, you don't have anything like that.
Okay, I hope you got your answer. Moving ahead with the next question, Ahmed, what is the procedure for CI/CD among all 3 clouds, AWS, Azure, and GCP? Is there any difference?
Yeah, so you don't need to go with the actual solution that is provided. For example, you don't need to go with the AWS all the way. You don't need to use AWS code commit, code build, code deploy, code pipeline, code star. You don't need to use that. So all the cloud providers, they are flexible with it. So you can choose what you want. For my current project, I'm doing code commit with Azure boards with Jenkins. All right, and then when I work with the Azure on the marketplace, I'm using both. Right now, Azure Devops, and Microsoft is recommending for DevOps with GitHub. So workflows and action. So I'm working on that. So you've got to be very flexible. So that's one very difficult thing about the DevOps industry. You've got to know 10,000 tools actually. So to be in the DevOps field, you've got to keep learning always. You've got to know just about everything. So, but it's one of the best fields right now. Very good field. Like if you can get on DevOps, nothing like that. So most of my friends on LinkedIn are almost 70% are in the DevOps side.
Okay, interesting. Another question from the same person asking what will be the roles that will take place being a solutions architect in day to day? What kind of challenges will mostly face being an architect? So he's trying to ask what will be the daily challenges that you face as a solutions architect associate?
Yeah, right. So like for the first stage, you'll design, and the second stage you'll be implementing where you work and you come across different issues, and you go day to day. Like when you're implementing and different issues will come, and then you've got to change the solutions and you've got to implement the solutions. So those will be the kinds of activities mostly day in and day out for a solution architect.
Okay. Next question is from Pavan. He's asking, with the 10 plus years in AAP.NET, now I want to shift to AWS Cloud. I have done CCP exam, preparing for Solutions Architect Associate. What's your suggestion?
I'm not. I didn't follow the thing. Where is working for?
He has 10 plus years of experience in AEP.NET, and now he wants to shift to AWS Cloud. And he has already achieved the CCP certification and now preparing for the Solutions Architect. So what would your suggestion be for his, I think, for the overall?
I'm honestly, I don't know the answer. I'm not sure what exactly he's in to answer. So maybe I'm going to take it offline with you. So
maybe Pavan, you can connect separately with Ahmed on LinkedIn. We will share his LinkedIn profile link with you all. And if there are any questions that we were not able to answer during this session, you can ask him separately.
Yeah, so anytime I'm guiding 40, 50 people at least. So definitely you should be able to contact me and I'll be able to help.
That's great. Okay, we will take a couple more questions now. Mustafa is asking, I've been studying for the AWS Solutions Architect Associate for a while now, and I'm so nervous to actually schedule and take the test. I feel I'm not ready. So I think
your assessment test is what is going to tell you, whether you're ready or not. Let's say that you take up a practice test on Whizlabs, like you got 5 practice tests. So first one you might score about 50%. That's how it's always for me. Out of 65, I always get about 34 to 38 the first time. And initially I used to write about 10 times until I get 97, 98%. Like I've memorized all the answers. But now I don't. Now I just do it twice. I just do it once, and then second time, that's it. I go write the exam. But if you get 80%, if you score, like you should try attempting 2 or 3 times. You should consistently score about 80%. If you score less than 80, then you're not ready. At least. But that doesn't mean that you're going to get those questions, like I said. So you should plan in such a way. Try to identify the gaps. Like where you're failing. Try to identify why you failed the exam. Analyze that, and you identify the gaps in knowledge and fix that properly. So that is the way to go. But I took almost 3 to 6 months to prepare my first exam.
Okay. I think you got your answer, Mustafa, and we wish you the best for your exam, and go well prepared.
And also the other thing is, think of it as an investment. Don't get really bogged down that, like you're going to lose 10,000 rupees or 12,000 rupees. $150 for the exam. I think with tax is 178. So that should not hold you back all the time. So think of it that, like as an investment, like you're going to invest so much learning, buying the courses, buying the practice tests, right? So think of it as an investment. So you should be mentally prepared to fail also. So you should not think of that, it's a very big amount that you cannot afford and it'd be very difficult. So try to be mentally prepared for that also.
Correct. Okay, so this question is from me. If we dare to ask, how would you rate these 3 cloud platforms? So AWS, Azure, GCP and Alibaba Cloud? I know it's a difficult question.
Yes. See, that's what like AWS is very stable. My personal choice. You don't have lots and lots of services and products like Azure has got. Azure keeps adding, and if you know now, Azure has combined all the four into one. The Dynamics 365, Office 365. It's all combined into one now. So they don't like being called Azure anymore. It's Microsoft to show all the capabilities that they have. So they are surging forward, lots of very good services they have. But then from a learning standpoint, no, it's too much to learn, too much to catch up on. I just passed DP 200, 201, and then now there's 203. I passed 300, 301, and there was, 303, 304. I passed 103, 104 was there. So, like catching up is very difficult from a certification standpoint, but lots of offerings. And GCP, I think, is not very popular, but so like I said, big data, they are good, and Anthos, they are good. So those are the things that I see them strong. But otherwise, some way to go, and that's everything is my personal comment. And Azure, we are doing very well. So we like Azure, and AWS also we are doing very well. We have a company called Stelligent. We are a premier partner for AWS Devops actually. So we've got absolute fantastic products, and one of our products, the CF and NAG, was used by AWS for 3 years actually for their development environment. You can just look up Stelligent, and so Alibaba, no comments. I have no idea on Alibaba. And even OCI, I tried. For me, it's difficult to unlearn and learn. So I just tried the practice test. I dropped it.
Okay. Okay. The last question for this session, and of course the attendees can later on connect with Ahmed. What is that one thing you would like to convey to all our viewers who are going to take their exams? That one thing that you would like to suggest them?
Yeah, allocate enough time, practice a lot, and baby steps. Don't think you don't have time. So, like even 30 minutes a day, in 6 months, you can get certified. So, keep up the learning journey. You cannot stop learning. So it's not enough that you get certified. So keep learning. So that's very important. And good luck with everything.
Okay, thank you so much, Ahmed. I think it was really informative, and I'm sure the viewers today were able to learn so much from you, and they will for sure connect with you and get inspired on their journey.
Yes, I'll be glad to help. Thank you so much. Somebody help me. I'm helping somebody else, paying it forward.
Thank you so much, Ahmed. It was really nice interacting with you, and we wish you the best for your next exam.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Okay.